I'm Andrea.
And I'm Stacy.
And Stacy is about to have a birthday.
Yes.
It says happy birthday.
It says happy birthday. She got these little crowns.
It's
too.
upside down, isn't it? Happy birthday.
How fun.
Happy birthday to you.
This is one of the gifts that Andrea gave me at the diner tonight. I had mentioned literally like last week or the week before that I saw some ceramic, I call them bird chirpers, I don't know what they are, on a store. I couldn't find where to get them. I couldn't remember what store it was, but she ordered some.
Yeah. It's like you fill it with water, and when you blow, it makes chirpy sounds.
It's going to be really loud on there.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, it's so cute. I
like it. It's your colors, too.
Yes,
red and black.
Literally.
Kind of. I like that.
Very cool. Thank you.
Oh, fun. Nostalgia, man. Nostalgia. Whoever invented those, just genius.
Yeah, I remember them, of course, plastic.
Taste of Summer.
Nice.
Georgia Peach Coke.
I haven't tried those yet. And then they came, I know, in red, yellow, and blue, maybe green. I don't remember green, but I love them. And you know those fish fortune tellers? You would get this little plastic flat bag. It was white and red and had a picture of a fish on it. And then you would pull out this cellophane, literally cut in the shape of a fish, and you laid it in your palm, and whether it stayed straight, rolled all the way up, one end curled, the other end curled, it was a fortune teller, and on the bag was printed kind of like a mood ring.
Cool.
I'll have to see.
So like your body would make the paper react in a certain way?
Yes, and it would roll up and really tight, or just the ends would slightly come up.
That's really cool.
I'll see if I can find some of those.
Mine would like not move.
Yeah.
I'm just feeling bleh.
The weather is kind of that way today. It's weird. It's not cool and it's not hot, so it's super uncomfortable.
These are our birthday hats, by the way.
They are.
Thought I should explain that.
Just
they might catch on, but it doesn't say happy birthday or anything, so it's a little conspicuous. We're totally weird. The bit of news we got at the diner.
Yes, we haven't even had time to look this up yet.
I'll be looking it up now. Should we say anything?
No, you look it up and I'll talk about what my show and tell for today. So this weekend was a sewing retreat, and we rented a house in the country. We, there were 10 of us total, women get together and sew every so often. It used to be more often, but people can't get together right now. So 10 of us got together and sewed, and I got to finish. These are just the tops. I finished this one, and I'll explain the other two. But I have a friend that asked for a quilt, and for his studio, and his favorite color is purple. So I tried a whole new technique, and I forgot what it's called, but it's no other quilt is ever made like this. And I'll even talk about
it's really pretty.
The
colors are really vibrant.
The issues that I have. I made this with batik, which batik is from Indonesia, and they lay the cotton out, and then they put wax on it in a design, and they dip it or dye it, and then they bring it out and add more wax and dye that, so they can get all these designs. So they're all hand done fabrics. But see, tell me if I'm good. Can you see it at all?
Oh yeah, colors are coming across because there's light reflecting off of it now.
So what it is this is a square, a 10-inch square is what I started with, and you stack 3 different ones up, and then you cut a curve here, wherever you want. So they're all different, and you cut a curve here, and then you trade out the 3 pieces and sew those together to make one block. So each one of these is a block. Well, because I haven't trimmed it or anything. Because this was my first time doing it, let me find one. I didn't get them all centered, so what that meant was I took a 10-inch square and had to cut it down to 9.5 inches, but some of them came out 9.5 on one side and the other side was 9.25. So instead of cutting them all down to 9.25 and losing all of that fabric, what I did was add what Carol calls is a coping strip. So I went ahead and cut more off. I cut a whole inch or better off. So it was 8 inches. And then I added a strip in, and I even cut some that were the right size smaller, so I'd have a bunch in there. So these straight pieces are the coping strips, and they're not on all the blocks. Like right here, there's not one. Right there, there's not one. So that even added more interest to it, I felt like.
It's definitely you.
Yeah.
I love it.
I do too. And then the border, I'm going to have, his company is Stay It Productions. So I'm going to have them quilt Stay It Productions in like a white thread or something that's really vibrant all around the border, and just let it repeat. And then I'll do something really fun in here. I don't know what yet.
That's going to look
great. But I absolutely love.
I'm just amazed at all the ones you've been making. They're fabulous. This quilt.
So then the other ones are,
the colors and patterns are always exactly right.
So for the people, they always end up right. Yeah. And that one, you helped me name it Controlled Chaos.
Oh, cool.
Which I feel like embodies Sully. That's who that one's going to.
Yeah.
And then I have a friend named Brian.
Shout out to Sully.
Yeah, shout out to Sully. We call him G. But
who's East Coast?
East Coast. I have my West Coast, my East Coast. Yeah. Beep beep. Why did I just do that? He is from the Philippines, and his favorite colors are black and red. So I chose this fabric because it has these flowers in it that made me think of like a Polynesian type.
Oh yeah.
You know, a Hawaiian. Filipino type flower for some reason. And then these other pieces reminded me of like the ocean, you know, like swirls and bubbles
and like travel, the dot,
yes.
Like when you go around a map or something.
So this was made out of 10-inch squares. I guess I'll show it to you. This one will have a border on it like Sully's. I just didn't have.
Oh, that's
I just
so
didn't
cool.
mess with it. But this is all like wild and crazy too, but a little more controlled.
I love it.
So what I did with this one is there's a 10-inch one piece of fabric, and I laid 3 on top. But what I did first was I cut like 1.5 inch strip in that one piece that would be red polka dot and this flower stacked on top of each other, and then I traded them out like Sully's, and I put the black in. And then after I got all of those done, I went back and stacked 2 on top of each other that didn't match, and I cut them at different angles. So I had all these that had, now I have 4 pieces, so I took the 2 and traded them out like I did with these. So that's why some of them are offset, some of them are close together. Some of them kind of lined up just by happen chance. So that's his. And I didn't care if, I kind of liked that these 2 fabrics were together. I was going to try to flip it all around, but it really gives you a good place to stop and look at it.
Yeah.
And this will have some sort of a black border on it. And then I had extra fabric. That's just to throw. So I made his son one. And it's the same premise, but I didn't do the straight line in it, so I took a step out, and this one won't have a border. It'll just be bound off.
Yeah.
But I kind of like it better.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it was the same thing. I stacked 3 and
I really like it.
Cut them up, and then stack 2 and cut it. But I didn't do the first step. So I just make up my own stuff.
I love it.
And do it. So that's where I'm at with those. And then Sully's is ready. I have to pick a backing, but it's ready to go. I'll clean it up a little bit. And then I'm really proud of myself because they've come out almost square, which before they weren't, you know, because I would sew. It's a weird thing with fabric, but when you sew, by default, it gets pulled a little bit. So if you sew your rows together and start at the same end and do all of them that way, it pulls it.
I see.
So this might be square, and this end won't be. So you have to sew one this way, one this way, one this way, to help it stay centered. And when you fold those in half, well, I measured them, and they're not off hardly at all. In fact, I probably, when I sew the border on, if I put a pin in the corner that's a little far, probably won't even have to cut it. I'll just sew the difference out of it.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited to knock those out. And I want to make Sully's daughter one, but her favorite colors are pink and purple. And
I want to see you come up with that.
Boy, those are not my colors. Purple was easy because I added all my black and white into it. But pink and purple, I don't know. I may just get her a panel.
Oh, yeah. That'd be good.
That has an image on it, and then
she'd love
just
that.
add a border and send
That'd be fun for her.
Yeah, so that was my weekend. I knocked those things out, and I'm glad.
That is awesome. You're just really killing it.
I am. And then I'm going to have to buy a sewing machine, but I'm going to try to find one at an estate sale or something so I can get it for like $300 instead of used at $1,200. But it just makes a world of difference. It's just like anything else, having the right tool. It's easier to cut a pizza with a pizza cutter than with a knife. It just is, especially our knives because they're not sharp.
Yeah, or a cheap pizza cutter.
Right. Yeah. I wish I understood that when I first started buying things. Not that I would still have them to this day, but I've probably invested $100 in pizza cutters over the years at $2 a piece. If I would have just bought the one $10 one or $15 one, as long as I didn't lose it, it probably still would be here.
I know. Mine is like stainless steel. It's big. I thought I was getting a good one. The whole probably $5 or $7 I paid for it, and now I'm like, am I like cutting it or just leaving an imprintation or what do you call it? Impression, indentation, yeah. Because I feel like it's showing me a line, but yet it does not.
This
pull
is where
apart.
you cut when you're ready.
Yeah. It's a template for the real pizza cutter. I want one of those rocking ones.
Yes, we had that at Mazzio's. Those were fantastic. You could go so fast with those. Fantastic.
That would be great.
So let's get to our news. What did we hear on the way out of the diner?
Okay. Well, here's the deal.
Did you find it?
I found 3 things about it within like the last 2 years. So I don't.
She said it was on Facebook though.
Yeah. So I mean that could be regenerated from an old story.
Or it could be fake. I really hope not. I'm gonna look on Facebook.
It's about an old plane being recovered from the Bermuda Triangle in 1945. With people may or may not still be on board. I mean, I wouldn't know what condition they would be in, but she seemed to think that they were like they just walked off the plane in 1945.
Yeah, they were asking if the war was over and if we won.
Yeah. So
we're trying to find facts on that.
I don't know. I wasn't able to narrow it down, but I'm not the best searcher. I didn't use the Facebook, but there's just interesting times going on. I saw a creature today. I'll just go with this story.
Okay.
Dean and I left this morning. He left before I did. He left about 6, and I left about 6:30. We had to go pick the stuff today for the, produce delivery. And we were heading home. It's probably about between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. And I'm always looking for wildlife because when we go up down those roads, I am not used to driving in the country. Some people fly down it, and it's like if they've seen one deer or one, creature, they've seen 1,000, so they're not interested, and they just go. Me, I try to look at everything because I'm still fascinated by it. Well, I passed an intersection that I drive through all the time because really once I'm on that country road, there's only one intersection like before my house. So it's like a big intersection. It's not like, something, an obscure road or anything. Well, I looked to my left and there was an animal hunched down in the road. I just assumed in my mind it was looking at roadkill or something.
Yeah.
So I slowed down because at first I thought it was a raccoon. And then I was like, much too big to be a raccoon, I think, the way it was hunched over. And then I was like, I think it's a dog or a wolf. It was like a raccoon wolf. I saw a raccoon wolf. I don't know what it was.
Raccoon wolf?
I mean, maybe it was some type of, I hear about people dumping dogs and them just looking so weird or different, but I don't know what it was. Or maybe somebody just has a weird looking dog. But I don't know. It was strange.
But was there roadkill there? Not that you could see.
It was looking at something, so I just assumed that there was. I mean, to hold its attention to be, sniffing in the road, because it was sniffing. And I don't think a raccoon would be out that early. I did pass a dead raccoon like a mile up the road, and I've seen them out there, so I know they're in that area. And I slowed down and backed up to do a double take, but of course, like always, when you go back, then it's not
gone.
there. But
wow,
it was weird. It was an anomaly. I don't know.
I found nothing on Facebook.
I didn't either.
But
Well,
I
didn't look at Facebook, but I don't know. But it's neat that she came up to tell us that story. But we decided that it's probably something she knew we would be interested in because we probably talk way too loud in a not so crowded diner. And we talk freely about subjects that interest us. And what interests us is
Flat Earth, Sasquatch,
Bigfoot,
aliens,
totally got it.
fairies,
Orbs, fairies,
gnomes,
little people,
giants,
any religious
any
topic.
religious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Everything
Yeah.
from Satanism to Mormonism.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a small jump. Everything from Satanism to Pentecostalism. See what I did there?
I see what you did there. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Same thing.
I mean, I have my opinions.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just, that's what interests us. I think we've both been kind of led down that path. You really kind of started me down that path about 12 years ago.
Yeah, and for me, it started with the kids when Allison started asking about dinosaurs, and I didn't have any good answers because we were in church and we were taught about the flood and things and how old the earth was. Yeah. I mean, just growing up, I was taught that too. And then science says
billions of years.
Yeah, something different, and the church says about 5,000 years. So she was starting to ask those questions. Yeah. And Allison's highly intelligent, and she had to do a report on dinosaurs, and so she had a little bit of a moral dilemma because she felt like her report was going to be a lie, and she was taught not to lie, and so we had a lot of discussion about that. But I did a lot of research on carbon testing, how good that is, all of those things, and basically, just to touch on that for a second, it boils down to if you're in the public school system, regardless of what you believe or what they're teaching, whether you're in the South and they're cramming, things down your throat that you don't believe in, or if, it's about dinosaurs or science or the Big Bang Theory or mathematics, whatever it is, religious-based or not, maybe it's just morals of slavery to no slavery or whatever it is, if you're going to choose to be in the public school system, then you're choosing to allow your kid to be tested on the things that they teach. So all they want to know is, did you retain this information and can you regurgitate it to us? So that's how we got around it. And I told her she could add in there, but this isn't what I believe if she wants to, because it doesn't, I mean, if it made her feel better, she didn't, but all they are doing is testing to see if you know the information. But we could get into the whole discussion of should you even have your kids, my kids went to public school all the way through, taught things that you don't necessarily agree with or that science doesn't back anymore, because the books are not updated with the new science. Regardless if it's religion or science,
they're just
it's just behind because it's printed literature, and it's expensive,
right?
And so you have to decide if that's what you want, or if you want to go ahead and teach them that because that's what's going to be on the SAT later in life, and then try to educate them on your own as well, which you should always be the educator of your child, and the schools should be the supplement education. Regardless of what school that is, whether it's private, Christian, public, it doesn't matter. And help them be able to form opinions and ask healthy questions on their own. So that's how I got into the rabbit trail of UFOs, and it's here or there, but I mean
it's funny to me. A lot of people close their mind to subjects because they believe what they believe, and they're sure on the one thing, especially like if you're Christian, you're born again, you're sure on that. Yeah. And then you have a set of ideals that were taught to you about what it means to be a Christian. And the actual salvation experience differs from religion, which is really a man guided institution, right? If it wasn't, we wouldn't have so many denominations and so many, questions about that. But so you're trained one way as a child, and you know what you're sure about. And then you get presented new information, and then a lot of people just automatically reject it because they can't assimilate it to what they've been taught, what they know, and then what they're being presented. So there's a big disconnect. And the thing is, the human mind is an amazing thing. And, the guidance you receive, I feel like, from the Father and the Holy Spirit and all that stuff, it's phenomenal. So you can take something that looks flat, process it in your brain, and all of a sudden you start seeing multidimensional things and how things willed together or woven together for a complete picture. So we sell ourselves short in being able to assimilate information without compromising what we believe and know to be true.
That's across the board. That's not even just religion. That's science. Yep. That's you expect to be able to walk into Walmart and know the pharmacy's on the right and the groceries are on the left at our particular Walmart, and no one can tell you different because you go there every week. And so you've got that in your brain and mapped out. And so when you walk into a Walmart that it's reversed, it feels like you're in a totally different planet. So you can either choose to walk out of Walmart and find one that you're used to, or you can say, you know what, it's familiar, so let's see if we can figure this out, and then decide for yourself what you believe. I'm not saying that any one religion is completely wrong or completely right. I'm saying that there are things that can make that better. It's the difference between a cake that my mom makes my dad because he can't have sugars and salts, and a cake that I make for my family. They're both good. Yes. But one is just a little sweeter. And so why not sweeten your life with checking out stuff and seeing what it's about, and like all those people that are going missing that you've been telling me about in the forest and on trails and hikes and around water and that kind of thing. Is that something that affects me daily? No, but I'm curious as to why is that happening? Are people getting turned around? Are they getting dehydrated and losing track? Is the sun setting on them before they realize what time it is and get lost in the dark? What is happening there? So it's just curiosity. It's not saying, anything. It's just, this is happening. I wonder why. Yes. And I go into a rabbit hole and I will search out everything from people just being lost all the way to being taken by an alien because I am interested in that stuff. Believe part of it, don't believe part of it. It doesn't matter. I just like to follow those rabbit
information
trails.
Seeking. And when you're in one, when you got to stop and turn around.
Oh, yeah.
You got that internal moral compass, those things that you're sure of. And when it starts to contradict that, you're headed down a wrong or a dangerous path or being even misled. But, okay, so lately I've been watching all of David Paulides' stuff, and there's like Can-Am Missing Project, CANAM, like Canada, America, smashed together, missingproject.com. And I've actually been watching the YouTube channel. He's got about 50 videos on there about his last 10 years of his life or more have been dedicated to not finding missing people, but trying to find answers to why so many people go missing and are never found and under what circumstances. And basically he started this channel to educate people on what can you do to be aware of these facts, because we're past speculation now.
Oh, yeah.
We know that these things are happening. We see the data, and it's the empirical evidence. It's lying there before you. And he's very good in some of his interviews about laying that out. You have to be willing to listen before you make judgments. His stuff is not absurd or hard to take in, but it's nature to want to solve the movie before it just gets started. So you hear a missing story and you're like, oh, well, this happened or that happened. Well, if you give him time and if you pay attention to the videos and listen to him closely, he's already gone through the obvious solutions. Looking for missing people is what he did for a long time. It was his job. So, of course, he always starts with the basics and the obvious. and most cases fall, into those categories. But he's noticed many cases that don't. And even though they're against the norm, they themselves have a lot of similarities, whether it's the type of environment or the actual physical location, that these things took place, or the things surrounding them. And I feel like the stories, as sad and heartbreaking as they are, for me, it's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost entertainment, not like laughing entertainment, but it's easy to watch. It's easy to learn. I mean, he presents things very well, and he tries not to leave unanswered questions.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate that about him. But that being said, my eyes have been open. Like when we go, into our favorite environments, to be alert of the things that I can do to, protect myself, and warning signs to look for. And this weekend, and I don't know if it's because people coming out holiday weekend, they already had plans. Some stuff is opened up, so everybody out the door and to the lakes they went. But it's been a bizarre weekend here in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. We've had a few things happen as far as lives lost at lakes from drownings, a boat explosion, kids. Oh, it's been weird. And my radar's been going off because not that I go looking for it, but as I scan my local news, because I try hard to just stay in touch to what's going on around me the best I can, I look and see certain things now that kind of flag me to, ooh.
Yeah.
Well, this morning when I woke up and I'm eating breakfast and I'm scrolling through my news things, this comes across. Keystone Lake this is Lake Texoma. So it's in the southwest, like around the Ochita.
It's Texoma because it's Texas and Oklahoma.
Ochita
so
Mountain Range.
Ochita?
The one the next one we have to go to.
Yeah. We
So,
haven't been there yet.
Boggy Creek, here we come.
Yes. Even my dad says don't go down there.
Oh, man.
We're going to do it, though.
Last time Dean and I went, and I tell you, like, this is the road we have to go down, and we watched the creek just rise. And we had to, like, back up because, well, anyway. So, this breaks my heart. There's a book called Hill Back to Boggy, too. It's a good read. Okay. So, law enforcement agencies searching for missing 19-year-old Louisville man. Julian J.J. Ollie was last seen early Monday morning at the Catfish Cove entrance to Lake Texoma off Highway 70. Do you care if I read this?
No.
Multiple law enforcement agencies in Oklahoma are looking for a 19-year-old Louisville man. Louisville, I don't know. Julian J.J. Ollie was last seen, like they said, Catfish Cove. According to the OSBI, he's a white man, green eyes, blonde hair, 5'9", 150 pounds. He was wearing a T-shirt with the word cookies on the front and black basketball shorts. He has tattoos of roses, a clock on each shoulder, a cartoon figure, a tiger, Roman numerals. He likes tattoos, so he should be easily identifiable. But listen to how many agents are looking for him. Now, there have been people going missing all weekend, right? Mm-hmm. Up at Keystone, and then just in Oklahoma City, and then that one by McAllister and all that. And they had local law enforcement looking. One guy, Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, Oklahoma State Park Rangers, Marshall County Sheriff's Office, Oklahoma Highway Patrol, the Chickasha Light Horse Police, local fire and emergency management, as well as other voluntary forces are out looking for him.
That's unusual.
I thought it was. And see, that's one of the things that David Polite has talked about. People go missing, I hate to say it, quite frequently. Like, let's take the Appalachian Trail. People wander off of that, and they are eventually found. A lot of them will leave notes, even saying, hey, I got lost. If you find me, this is who I am.
Yeah.
I mean, it's heartbreaking, but it's a reality. But occasionally, a person will go missing, and all of a sudden, like, federal agents show up. Randomly.
And it's not the person
and
that they're
sometimes
concerned with?
Someone's missing, and people want help finding them, and they have to beg agencies to come and help look. But I'm not saying this kid isn't loved. I'm not saying he is
No.
not important. But that many
What
agencies.
makes him special to the agency over another person is what we're
Yeah.
curious about.
Yeah. What about this case flags multiple agencies? Like, I don't know. You know, I mean, is that like a Federal Reserve? So by law, they have to have a
I don't
cooperation.
know.
But
There's a lot of people that go missing in Federal
yeah.
Reserve.
And I mean, that lake's, you know, fairly commonplace as far as many people go to it. I'm sure all the shoreline is well accounted for as, you know, houses or resorts or, you know, different things surrounding it. So it's not like it's, you have to hike to this and it's campground around it and everybody on their own. So it's, even though it's in a somewhat isolated part of the state, the location itself is very popular and would have been very packed this weekend. And so if he's missing Monday morning, right? He went missing Monday morning. He was the last seen Monday morning.
Yes.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So within me waking up Tuesday with that article, within 24 hours of a grown man missing, and they don't even consider people like, if I were to call and say, I haven't seen Stacy, they'd be like, I'll give it 72 hours,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and then we'll consider her missing.
Yeah.
So unless there was some unusual circumstance, but I'm like, that is just like the stuff that I've been watching and reading about and kind of been on the lookout for. I thought, this is strange.
We'll have to follow that.
The multiple agency thing.
Yeah. Especially with the light horses in it. That's unusual too, that they're working.
And he's not a member of, as far as I know, the Chickasaw Nation.
Yeah.
I mean, blonde
They
hair,
didn't
blue
say-
eyes, it doesn't seem like it, but
They
I guess
would
a
have said
possibility.
that probably.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And you know, when they bring in Indian trackers, that
Yeah.
was another thing.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Hmm.
But I thought, you know, I pray they find him. I hate people not having answers to things.
Yeah, that's
Torture.
the worst part.
It's torture. It really is. There are things worse than death, as far as I'm concerned, and having a loved one disappear, not knowing what happened to them would be on the top of my list. I'd rather it be me go missing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna be praying for JJ there.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, we'll have to
Honestly,
follow that.
like this morning, I was like, I wish I had a skill. I would go down there and look.
And help.
I would be in the way.
Yeah, me too.
I would just be in the way.
Yeah.
I would be lost. I would end up drowned. I mean, it would not be good for anyone. So I don't want to be a hindrance, but I'm just thankful there's people out there that look.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strange.
I don't know what to talk about now.
I don't either. Maybe we should just say, happy birthday, Stacy, and best of luck on your journey down your next rabbit hole.
Yay! I like that.
May there be many, many more rabbit holes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks, y'all.
Yeah. Bye.